That's creepy.
Hi everyone, I'm back. On the floating head now.
Alright, so now we're going to be watching a documentary to work on our science and social studies. This one is called Day Zero. It's about humanity rapidly consuming Earth's fresh water supplies while removing nature's ability to replenish them. Explore the journey to when Earth's fresh water supplies will exhaust in service to modern comforts. Cool. So here we go.
I'm going to resume it, even though we were like 1 second in. Oh, there's one person watching.
Oh, cool.
Well, they left.
The Earth from space. The only known planet in the universe with surface water. Water is what made life and civilization possible. But the ancient water patterns on Earth are shifting. No one can be sure anymore where tomorrow's water is coming from. Already, water scarcity affects 4 out of 10 of the world's population. Soon, it will be the future for many of us. And in many places, the countdown has already begun.
No more.
Do you think we should show them this documentary? Or...
I don't want to get sued.
I have to go through and see if it has a specific thing saying that we can't share it.
New Year's Eve, 2020. A very different kind of countdown.
No more water.
Right, basically.
Why do we celebrate New Year?
It was time to say goodbye to the teen years of the 21st century. More people have had more fun than at any time in history. None of us knew it then, but 2020 was about to go very wrong. The first coronavirus deaths were only days away. Within weeks, there would be no more crowds, no more parties, no more celebrations. For years, experts had predicted that a pandemic was on its way, but not enough people were listening.
Huh. I think this was
And on New Year's Eve 2020,
All right.
the coronavirus was not the only disaster waiting to happen.
Oh, okay.
Fix and like I don't know if I can watch this. Like on
The
here,
human population is outstripping the water supply. This is suicidal.
The water crisis is something that's happening now, and it's happening around the world. When we don't have water, people fight.
That's all dramatic.
Those are
All hell breaks loose.
showing like Afghanistan and everything.
In Australia, 46 million
Look
acres
at a lot
of
of
land
people
is being
No, the
incinerated by
wildfires in
wildfire.
Australia. Of course, we have wildfires here in California.
34 dead.
24.
An estimated 3
34.
billion wild animals killed. Some species driven to the brink of extinction. Similar record-breaking wildfires reported in California, Alaska, and Siberia. Worldwide, extreme weather events have doubled since 1980.
Officials in Cape Town, South Africa say it's just 92 days away from having to shut off most water taps. They are calling April 21st Day Zero.
When?
April 21st?
Mexico City,
This
one
year?
of the largest cities in the world,
I don't know.
struggles
That's
to
pretty
come to
close if
terms
that's
with
the
water
case.
shortage as a way of life. In the worst-hit neighborhoods, the poor have taken control of the water supply into their own hands.
Secuestraron más y más pipas. Entonces, pues ahí solamente nos hacían caso. Con agresión.
I know they
In the
didn't
Midwest,
translate.
The water which irrigates America's breadbasket is disappearing forever.
What
We
is-
are in a really, really big
The
mess.
breadbasket, agricultural centers. It's because they've
Industrial
grown too
agriculture
much
is really a
food.
mining operation
So it uses too much
where they
water.
use up water.
See?
They use it up until it's gone.
In Brazil, hard-pressed units of armed police are the last line of defense against the destruction of the Amazon rainforest.
And you see, we're people of the desert, so like this is a really foreign concept to us. We save our water.
Yeah.
Even here, conservatively, we're really conservative with our water. We conservative when we brush our teeth and how we use the toilet and wash our hands and everything. It's like we stay clean, but we do not waste water here.
No.
So this is like it's always been a foreign concept to me how people waste water. And that goes with electricity too. When you run electricity, you're wasting water.
In an area
Yeah.
the
It takes
size of
water to
India.
generate it.
Why are you laughing?
The prize on this raid? An illegal tractor. But small victories
You
will
lit it on
to
fire?
slow down the pace of destruction. Nearly 20% of the forest has already vanished,
Why would they
and
burn
there's a
it?
price to pay.
Because that could light the whole forest on fire.
And it would release toxic fumes.
In recent years,
We found
research has shown that in a rainforest, if you take away the trees, you take away the rain. And for regions far beyond Brazil, the result could be catastrophic.
cat.
What
Stop
would you do if you know what I know? It's absolutely essential, and humanity understand what kind of risk we are running right now. I mean, losing habitat, losing the planet where we have evolved. It means really losing the capacity of continuing to live on Earth.
The day that water runs out has been called Day Zero. This film is about the people who are fighting to make sure it never happens.
So that's soon.
Yeah, they say it won't take long.
Around 3.5 billion years
turtle.
ago,
No, it's a
water
fish.
was where life on Earth began.
There's a turtle.
Yeah, it's
And
alright.
today, all living creatures depend on it for existence.
Look at how cute they are.
I know.
I love turtles.
High Springs, Florida. Lots of green trees.
Florida Springs.
Everglades.
Thousands of
You guys
lakes and
can
dozens
see
of
it.
rivers
We have to
crisscross the
describe
state
it.
of Florida on their way to the sea.
Great swamps.
For nearly 50 million
Someone
years,
swimming.
it has been one of the wonders of the world. And for centuries, it's provided the people of Florida with most of their drinking water. But now, there's something going wrong in the Florida Springs. Jill Heineth has been diving here for more than 20 years. She's seen how things are changing.
Oh, yeah, there's a lot of algae blooming
Because
there.
below the surface of the springs, you can find the back door to the astonishing story of what is happening to the world's fresh water.
Guys swimming underwater.
Yeah, diving team.
The Floridian Aquifer, the reservoir of fresh water stretching for 100,000 square miles under the state of Florida and beyond. The largest concentration of fresh water springs on Earth.
I'm still filled with wonder every time I have an opportunity to go into an underwater cave. They're just magical environments. I liken it to swimming through the veins of Mother Earth. I am swimming in the sustenance of the planet.
That's
Of all the water on Earth, just over
Like it.
2% can be used for human consumption. Most of that is inaccessible, locked up in ice caps and glaciers. A third of the fresh water we can get to is found underground in these vast rock-bound aquifers. They contain 100 times more than all the surface water in lakes and rivers combined. Until now, it's been enough to sustain life on Earth. But modern life on Earth is something different.
What I've learned over many years of being here is that clear water doesn't necessarily mean clean water. I've seen the flow of the springs slow down as if they're tired and getting sick. I've seen the bottom vegetation disappear and being replaced by filamentous algae. Whether that's nitrate pollution from agriculture or whether it's just using too much. I've seen it change. I've seen things disappear.
Jill is like the canary in a coal mine. Pollution, depletion. The clues she's found here are a warning that something is happening. And not just in Florida.
New York?
Los Angeles,
Oh.
a good place to start an investigation into water. There's never been enough to go around. 100 years ago, they built the world's largest aqueduct to stop the city drying up.
Yep. That goes right through Rikers.
In the days of Prohibition, when the rest of the country was dying for alcohol, in LA, they were fighting each other over water. Water crisis is in the city's DNA. Los Angeles is the showcase of the American dream. The shop window of the modern way of life. The world capital of the swimming pool. 250,000 in LA County alone. It's stuck between the desert and the ocean. The people of LA might just be living dangerously.
It's kind of like Damascus. Sierra Madre, California.
This is Jay Famiglietti, water scientist. Every time California starts running out of water, he's the pundit they all come running for.
Irvine and senior water scientist for NASA's Jet Propulsion Laboratory, Jay Famiglietti.
That coffee.
Will tell us expert testimony about this. They call you the Al Gore of water.
Wow, that's impressive. Well, you know it's when stories like this break, they break in a very, very big way.
Why isn't there a panic, or at least a sense of urgency? Where's the governor going on TV? What's the plan, man?
Yeah, well, that's
water.
Right.
It's serious shit, bro.
It's not clear to me that the general public really appreciates that the water crisis and water scarcity is something that's happening now, and it's happening around the world. It's happening all over the world.
Severe drought has been a regular feature in the Californian story. The years between 2012 to 2014 were the driest for over 1,000 years. But it's not only Californians
Wow, look at that.
who are in trouble.
That used to be all
At
full.
NASA,
Yeah.
Jay Famiglietti pioneered a space mission to try to discover what was happening to water supplies over the entire planet.
3, 2, 1, and liftoff. A Grace mission tracking the movement of water across our planet.
The project was called GRACE, the Gravity and Climate Recovery Experiment.
It acts like a scale in the sky. It's composed of 2 satellites. They're about the size of a squashed minibus. They orbit at about 400 kilometers, and they're separated by about 200 kilometers, and they're chasing each other around as the Earth spins around. And when the satellites fly over that region exerts slightly less of a gravitational tug on the satellites, and they float just a little bit higher. It's really allowed us to map out the regions around the world that are gaining or losing water.
Grace was a huge scientific success, but the news from space wasn't good.
Uh-oh.
2 billion people around the world depend on vast underground aquifers for drinking water and growing food. The Grace satellite proved that most of these aquifers are losing water much faster than anyone predicted.
The drought situation is much worse than I think is generally perceived. And this may be why we're not getting the public response that we want. We found that over half of the world's major aquifers, over half, 20 of them, are past sustainability tipping points. And by that, I mean that the water is being removed, it's being extracted from these aquifers at a rate that's greater than it's being replenished.
Grace was a wake-up call. The satellites had looked into the future, and for vast swathes of the US and the world, the future is dry.
Population is growing and climate is changing. We don't have the water that we thought that we did, so it's a different world out there.
We've been spending all these revolutions looking at the moon. Then as we come around this non-inviting place, we look up and there's the Earth. It's 240,000 miles away. It was small enough you could cover it with your
Can you
thumbnail.
imagine that?
Wow.
Instead of seeing the moon rise.
See the sun, the
The
Earth
Earth.
rise?
Yeah.
The time, Christmas Eve, 1968. The location, the Apollo spaceship on the far side of the moon. When this photo was taken, there were only 3.5 billion people on Earth. Already, there are twice that many. In the 1960s, New York and Tokyo were the only two megacities with populations of more than 10 million. Now, there are more than 30. Most of them much bigger than New York. It was water that made these cities possible in the first place. But what happens now if the water starts running out?
Easy. Death. Like the water cycle.
Yeah.
Cape Town, South Africa.
Cape Town in South Africa is facing one monumental question. How does it survive?
4 million residents of Cape Town are staring down a painful reality. In a little more than 2 months, the South African city could run out of water.
Oh my gosh.
February 2018. Cape Town, South Africa. There's hardly been any rain for 3 years. The reservoirs are almost empty.
Day 0, a doomsday scenario when the taps run dry. For Capetonians, it's a real possibility, as long as their city's main water supply looks like this.
They are calling April 21st, day 0.
I'm not saying it's bigger than 9/11, but I'm saying it poses as much of a challenge as a catastrophe such as 9/11 did, but in a completely different way.
Tourist brochures were still calling Cape Town the honeymoon capital of the world. The plastic water cans were telling a different story.
There is the perception that this is a short-term drought, and day zero is needed just to tide people over to the next rainy season, which will be 2 or 3 months in the future.
Cat.
You teasing puppies again? So we're gonna go
The
to
data
about
that we have
20
all
minutes
tells
here.
us
We're
that
at
this
20
is
minutes
not a
now.
short-term disturbance.
So right after this little part, we'll go ahead and quit for today.
From the 1980s onwards,
Day zero's coming,
there's been
people.
a perceptible
Day zero,
shift
man.
in the rainfall pattern in South Africa. The Weather Service in South Africa are unable to predict the future under these conditions of climate change.
Cape Town is proud of its Mediterranean
What are you
climate,
doing?
Me?
but the climate is
Yawning.
changing, and the future is unpredictable. A population that was 2 million 20 years ago is 4.5 million today.
Ugh,
The
20
demand
years?
for water
that's not long.
never stops growing.
Water is not only the stuff you drink or the stuff you shower in or the stuff you flush the toilet with. Water is embedded in everything. Water is part of our everyday modern living. Water creates the jobs that give people the salaries that they live on. Water creates the food. Every element of our modern economy requires fresh water.
Okay, it's a good place to stop for now.
Yep.
So there we go. Got a little bit of science and social studies done.
And spelling.
We did spelling today. We did some reading. We read a novel earlier this morning as well.
Yep, I read a book. So yeah.
Alrighty.
Peace. See ya.